to Astana, Kazakhstan. Now, let me also mention that Australia was the fourth extraterrestrial nation in the world, meaning that they had launched into space. Astana, which is the capital of Kazakhstan, which means threshold, is set up like some sort of Aleister Crowley dream. I don't know, this thing, or you get to the Church of Satan or whatever you want to. The geometrical patterns set up in Astana are astonishing. And of course, it meaning threshold, and that you have to walk through this pyramid of peace to get into the city, come upon the presidential palace, which has two blazing columns like the Freemasons that look like it should have electric bolts going between the two of them. And this includes a giant ball up on a spire that has a golden hand placed there by the creator or the architect, and it looks like something straight out of Total Recall. Very strange. We get to this and we start to understand that President Nazarbayev of Astana has been trying to establish not only a one world currency, which he called AK metal, which means supreme quality. So we got AK metal trying to be our new form of currency coming out of Astana, but they are also housing the fourth Congress of the world leaders, which mostly, when you read through the third Congress, you will see quickly that it is mostly Muslim. So inside of this giant pyramid of peace, they have established a giant sun table where they can gather around and therefore unify religion under the pyramid of peace. How strange is that? But when we look outside the pyramid of peace, we see it encoded with numerous 666s. Now, this is if you understand the geometric patterns and the understanding that these guys are Kabbalists, and therefore we are dealing with Hebrew, and in Hebrew, V is 6. When you look at the pyramid of peace, just below the big I at the apex, you will see 6 VW logos in the construction, in its geometric pattern. So this makes 6 666s if you're following my geometric patterns. If you don't understand, let me just explain very quickly. When we're looking at Hebrew, Hebrew is different than English in numerology, and therefore 6 equals V or V equals 6. When you look at Hitler's Volkswagen logo, you'll see that what we're looking at is a VV interlaced. So 2 V's being 6, 6, but crossing, making a third 6, so the Volkswagen logo will equal 666, along with 66, which is the number of the Quillipoth, or the dark side of magic, the souls of those that died insane, or what the Kabbalists call excrement. These include certain daemons like Lilith and Samael and Azrael and the whole troop there that was listed in the book of Enoch for bringing all of this strife to planet Earth. Now, looking deeper into the symbolism and the geometric patterns on the Pyramid of Peace, I found Marco Rodin, who is a mathematician that outlined and established a mathematical design for infinity, which was exactly like the Volkswagen logo and the geometric pattern on the Pyramid of Peace. Very strange indeed. Finally, we add to this Dubai, which is not too far away from there, where they established Atlantis, put up a giant island structure that is a tree of life, where they launched this multi-million-dollar fireworks display and high definition projection onto the building of Atlantis, the theme park, resort, I don't know what you want to call it. And all of this being done as the American economy crashed and burned, right according to my prediction on 10/13. So we see that they are announcing their new world. They are establishing and building their capitals. They are setting up the political structures, and we are all being led astray. If you're not too sure what I mean by these geometric patterns and how they're set up on the occult plans of Solomon, then go and check out my esoteric adventures in Nashville, which you'll find on my youtube.com/Freeman TV. I show you how this all functions and how it is set up. We have to ask questions. We have to understand. Now, if they are laying out a giant pattern out in front of the Nashville Capitol, which is it's the Bicentennial Mall there, and it is designed exactly to represent the seal of Solomon to bind spirits. Now, let's not forget who Solomon is. He's the lead magician. He is one that conjured demons. He had conjured 72 demons, I believe, and then finally made the last seal, which is the bicentennial mall's shape, to bind all of these spirits. So the shape that they used to make the bicentennial mall out in front of the Nashville Capitol is actually Solomon's seal to bind all of these spirits. It's broken, by the way. This is then set up around the globe as we start to see different geometric patterns being put out in this type of situation. So, you know, have a look of the aerial view of Astana and be astonished at how it's set up, or have an aerial view of Dubai or Canberra, and you will start to see these same patterns forming. Now, one thing I didn't mention about Canberra in Australia is that their Disney affiliate, ABC, happens to be Channel 666. I'm not making this up. 666 ABC with a DNA helix as their logo. You just can't make this stuff up. So we're starting to decide and determine that maybe this is the end times, or at least many people want us to believe that, and I think it's actually a plan. Even I think it was Jordan Maxwell came out and said, I don't know. Or no, actually it was Bill Cooper. Said, I don't know if they're following it as a plan, but the book of Revelation is absolutely unfolding in front of our eyes. And it has always been my belief that this was a guidebook, a plan, you know, something for them to follow, that this was not some sort of revelation, that this was not some sort of godlike prophecy, but that these men that are practicing these occult practices are following it as a plan. Now, consider when these gentlemen join the Skull and Bones Society that they take on names from the book of Revelations, such as George W. Bush being temporary. Look it up in your concordance. You'll find it there. Or H.W. being, what was he? Magog. Yes, so we had Gog and Magog, and then Bush was given the scroll of Gog, according to Tex Mars, and this whole thing just ties up into this whole picture. So when you see the president being Akhenaten reincarnated along with his entire family, Mother Queen T, Malaya, and Sasha being the two daughters of Akhenaten, it shouldn't be a surprise. Or should it? You know, this is all quite amazing, and it's hard to believe, even for someone that's uncovering it like myself. But it is unusual, and it keeps me going because it's just too much. So as we have, you know, Barack Obama in office, establishing 10 regional governors across the U.S., getting ready to move the capitals, and all of the things being set up while being threatened by Iran, and having giant spirals open up in the sky for his Nobel Peace Prize, it is all very curious. Meanwhile, the Vatican's setting up the VATT, or the VAT telescope there in Arizona. Well, of course, this has been established for some time, but set up also in another place to be able to watch incoming objects. Is Planet X real? This has been a question that I've been tracking for some time, and I don't cover and talk too much about, but certainly I remember the news reporting it. I remember, was that the 80s? When they started talking about Planet X on the news, that they had seen gravitational effects in the light refraction that suggested a body outside of our solar system that was perhaps 3 times the size of Jupiter. Then it dropped. We never heard another thing. Next thing you know, they launched the IRAS satellite, and we start to get X-ray infrared images of what they called a supernova, and this is that G1.9. NASA then had to reestablish their mathematics and say, well, we don't think that G1.9 is this old. It must be younger because it's getting bigger. Meanwhile, other scientists looking at the same effect are going, well, hey, that's not a supernova exploding. That is a brown dwarf star heading towards us. And you have the numerous accounts and many predictions and prophecies about an incoming star. We have this dark star